What are you looking at? What are you looking at? That was a playground taunt when I was a kid. I don't know. That was a long time ago. I don't know if kids still say that. But the question, what are you looking at, is an important question. In Hebrews 12:2, it tells us to fix our eyes on Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith. He's the author. He's the one that's writing this whole story, and he's the perfecter of our faith. It reminds me of a story that's been on my heart this week a lot. I shared it briefly with the high schoolers, but I want to read this story and encourage you guys through it. It's Matthew 15, verses 22 through 34. And this is what it says. Immediately after this, Jesus insisted that his disciples get back into the boat and cross to the other side of the lake, while he sent the people home. After sending them home, he went up into the hills by himself to pray. Night fell while he was there alone. Meanwhile, the disciples were in trouble far away from land, for a strong wind had risen, and they were fighting heavy waves. So they listened to what Jesus told them to do, and it got them into a storm. About 3 o'clock in the morning, Jesus came towards them, walking on the water. When the disciples saw him walking on the water, they were terrified. In their fear, they cried out, "It's a ghost!" So here they are, they're following Jesus, doing what he told them to do, and they're out there alone without Jesus, and then Jesus comes to them, and they don't recognize him. They think he's a ghost. But Jesus spoke to them at once. "Don't be afraid," he said. "Take courage, I am here." Don't be afraid. Take courage. I am here. What do we take courage in? The fact that Jesus is here. Then Peter called out to him, "Lord, if it's really you, tell me to come to you walking on the water." That's a weird thing for Peter to say. Like, if I saw Jesus walking on the water, why would I go, okay, command me to come to you? But there was a reason Peter did that. He knew with the command of Jesus comes the power to do it. So he said, okay, if you command me, Jesus, to do this, then I can do it. And it's the same thing in our lives. When God calls us to do something, he gives us the authority to do it. "Yes, come," Jesus said. So Peter went over the side of the boat and walked on the water towards Jesus. So he's walking on water. When he saw the strong wind and waves, he was terrified and began to sink. "Save me, Lord," he shouted out. Jesus immediately reached out and grabbed him. "You have so little faith," Jesus said. "Why did you doubt me?" Then they climbed back into the boat. The wind stopped. Then the disciples worshipped him. "You are the Son of God," they exclaimed. So Peter got out of the boat in faith. He had enough faith to get out of the boat. But then the wind and the waves came up, and he started focusing on them instead of Jesus. We're supposed to fix our eyes on Jesus. As long as his eyes were on Jesus, he had the faith to do it. But when he started looking at his circumstances, that's when his faith dropped. And right now, we have a choice whether we're going to keep our faith in Jesus or look at our circumstances. Some of you might look at the circumstances and be afraid and go, there's some crazy things happening. Some of you might look at the circumstances and be frustrated. Go, this isn't fair. This is stupid. I can't believe that we're having to do all this stuff. All of that is going to shipwreck your faith, and it's going to sink you. In everything, we focus on Jesus. Does that mean we ignore the problems? That we go, no, I'm just going to focus on Jesus? No, we acknowledge the problems, but we acknowledge the fix to that problem, which is Jesus. So if we're in a tough situation, we don't just ignore it and pretend like it's not there. We go, okay, Jesus, I'm focusing on you in the middle of this situation. So this weekend, I want to encourage you, fix your eyes on Jesus. What are you looking at? What are you looking at?